Hello, my name is Maria Fernanda, and I'm the host of IOScholarships Superheroes Podcast.
Easy, easy, so easy.
This podcast is only a 10-minute podcast that highlights the best kept secret of IO scholars, job recruiters, and community influencers. And most importantly, we want to provide you financial resources to go to college debt-free and become financially savvy. Today, we have the pleasure to have Josué Gil-Silva, who is pursuing a degree in mechanical engineering with a concentration in product realization at Stanford University. And he also serves as a team manager for the Stanford men basketball team. And he has a great taste in fashion, as he founded with his brother and father a costume shoe painting business. So welcome, and thank you so much for being part of our podcast.
No, thank you so much, Maria. I'm very happy to be here. Can't wait to have a conversation with you.
So tell me, growing up in a community of predominantly Latino immigrants, what inspired you to pursue a career in STEM?
Yeah, for sure. So like you said, I grew up in Salinas, California, which is like a pretty agriculture area, and it's only like an hour and a half away from Silicon Valley, but there's not really much access to like the world of technology that's just like so close to our home, right? So like I think growing up, I wasn't really exposed to much engineering until I got to high school. I had a really great robotics teacher. So it was the first year in my high school they offered robotics, and I enrolled in it. It seemed really interesting, and we actually got to like work on pretty cool projects. We were working with Rex robotics parts where we kind of like designed our own robot that was autonomous, and we kind of used like block coding to like make it move. And I just thought it was the coolest thing, be able to like kind of build it from scratch, because I'd always love to draw. I don't know if I told you, my dad's an art teacher, so like he kind of like me and my brother, who'd always teach us how to draw and paint when we were younger. So I kind of like had that in me, like that creativity. And I kind of like once I started doing engineering, I learned that I really love to work with my hands and kind of like come up with these crazy ideas and actually be able to build them. So that was kind of like where the inspiration started. And from there in high school, once I started applying to colleges, I applied under mechanical engineering, just kind of like to see what it was like, and I ended up really liking it once I got to Stanford.
Well, that's amazing because, I was selected to be part of the Latino Stanford Entrepreneurship Initiative program, and they have a great program for design and technology and innovation. So I can't wait to see your products and services in the future. So if you could turn back the time and talk to your 18-year-old self, what will you tell him?
Yeah, that's a great question. I think one of the biggest things, like one of the lessons I wish like I knew when I was like 18 was like, don't be afraid to fail. Don't be afraid to take risk. And like more than anything, like I think when I was 18, I was kind of like, I don't know if my biggest fear was failure, but I just felt like I really didn't want to kind of like let my parents down, let my family down, right? And like I would put a lot of pressure on myself that I kind of have to be like the best version of myself, like accomplish these certain things, get a certain GPA, kind of like to kind of like put on for my family, right? But I think that's a lot of pressure to put on yourself. I think like that's one of the biggest things I've like kind of dealt with myself, is like the pressure I put on myself. So I think if I was 18, I would just definitely tell myself like, don't worry about it. Like just don't really put all that pressure on myself to like that I have to like get this GPA, get this achieve these awards. Like it kind of like piles up on you. So I think just like enjoy the little things in life, and also at the same time like stay focused, but at the same time like kind of like enjoy little things in life, enjoy family more, enjoy kind of like exploring, trying new things. So I think more than anything, like balancing your life more instead of like putting too much pressure on myself.
That's a great recommendation and insight, because I believe personally I learn a lot from my failures, and I don't call them failures. I just call them key learnings, to overcome and to adjust and to, and to do things differently. But you came really far. Visit IO Scholarships, as we have access to thousands of STEM scholarships based on your unique ethnic background, waiting for you today. Some of them only require 2.5 GPA and no essay. Remember, the more you apply, the more chances you have to win. Apply today. So, which are the three tech gadgets or applications you can live without?
Yeah, yeah. That's a tough question because I think, to be honest, like the three gadgets that I use the most, like on an everyday basis, would be probably my phone for sure. Just whether it's like using social media, using like looking anything up on Google, like that's just like the most helpful thing that I use, like literally probably more like 10 hours a day. It's like it's too much, but it's very useful. Like you could literally have anything you don't need on there. Also, my iPad. I think my iPad is kind of like what I use for all my classwork now. Like I remember freshman year, I started using everything on a notebook, but it transitioned. Now it's like literally everything I need is on my iPad. I take notes on there, like do drawings, sketches, anything I need is like on that. So it kind of like it pretty much organizes me because like I don't really have nice handwriting, to be honest. So having everything in one device is super helpful, and having like literally any app I need on there. So I'll say that like my iPhone, my iPad, and also headphones. I think like I said, I love listening to music. I'm pretty much like whether I'm going to classes, going to the gym, like playing basketball, I'm always listening to music. So I think like I definitely can't live without my headphones either.
Well, nowadays with so many apps, they simplify your life and
Yeah.
manage your time wisely. So, tell me a little bit, what are the biggest challenges you had to pursue a career in STEM, and how you overcame those challenges?
Yeah, for sure. So I think one of the biggest things was like I mentioned, like I didn't really know many engineers growing up. I didn't know much about this career path. My parents are teachers. Like they always encouraged me to kind of like go out, like for what I like pursue what I'm passionate about, right? But I really didn't know any engineers growing up, especially like in the Salinas Valley. So when I got out here, I wasn't like really sure kind of like what path I should take in order to figure out like what I want to do, right? Because like I knew I was interested in engineering, but I wasn't sure like should I do computer science, mechanical engineering, like what's the best way to do it. So kind of like I think how I overcame that was once I got to college, I started seeking out different mentors. I started seeking out people that are older and more knowledgeable than me, and I think that was like a great resource to kind of like learn the ropes and see like what I need to do in order to get like to achieve my goals, basically. So I think that was the biggest thing. I found some people, really great mentors here that I've like gotten closer to over the years, and especially like having people like from a similar backgrounds who are also Latinos, and kind of like also like I met a PhD student who's from Salinas in the bioengineering department, so it became really close with him, and like just getting great advice from people who are more knowledgeable than me.
So, talking about role models, which will be the your inspiration, your real role model in this
Mhm.
industry?
Yeah, in the industry, that's I think like I had a great mentor this summer when I worked at the Stanford Charm Lab. My mentor's name is Jenish. I think he was a great mentor for me, just learning the ropes from him. It was like my first real like engineering experience, where I was actually like designing a device, where I was like designing a fingertip haptic device for virtual reality. So I think that was like he gave me some great advice on how to become a better designer and how to create products for mass production. So I think that was a great experience, and he was a great mentor for that.
If you had $100 million to spend, how would you spend? How would you spend it? And listen, investors,
Yeah.
because he's the
Uh-huh.
innovator of the future.
So I mean, I think first of all, I definitely want to create a space. I would buy a huge property back in Salinas, in my hometown, where I would like rent out, not rent out, but like, it would be a huge facility with a bunch of basketball courts, where it'd be free to the public, free for the kids in East Salinas, in my community. And also to have like a huge maker space, a bunch of 3D printers, a bunch of area for kids to be exposed to STEM education. So like whether hire a bunch of people paid on staff, create jobs in the community, where it'd be like kind of like education for the youth, especially in STEM, and also have like the sports aspect to it, where there's like basketball courts and even like soccer fields, with soccer is huge back home. So I'll say that for sure. And also another idea that I have is like to create a design firm where it's kind of like it's pro bono stuff working. You would hire a bunch of engineers, product designers to actually like work on problems they're passionate about. So you actually like have all this money in the world, you have $100 million to fund it, right? So I think you can create change a lot faster with more money. So I think if you're able to hire those people, you can solve the problems you're passionate about and make a bigger impact in the world.
Yes, investors, listen to Josué Gil-Silva. He has amazing ideas that combine innovation and technology, and also creativity that is key for the STEM industry. Lastly, which advice will you give and tips to students who want to apply for scholarships?
Yeah, for sure. I think like I was saying earlier, just take risks. Don't be afraid to fail. Like it isn't. You never know what's gonna happen. So I think like don't be afraid to put yourself out there and kind of like share your story. So I think like one of my favorite quotes is like you miss 100% of the shots you don't take. So if you don't apply for this scholarship, you don't go for it, like you'll never know what's gonna happen. So I think like even if like you're doubting yourself, having that self-doubt or not sure whether you should apply for something or go for it, take that big leap, I say just go for it. What's the worst that can happen? You know, they say no, like, you know.
You're right, Josué. The more you apply, the more opportunities to win. So thank you for being part of our IO podcast. And for everyone listening who is watching also this show, feel free to like, share, comment, and subscribe. And see you next month for our IO Scholarships Superpower podcast. And remember the power of the 3 I's for inspiration, innovation, and invention. Thank you, Josué, again.
Thank you, Maria.